Hey guys, it's Kristin, co-founder of Service Crowd. We help digital and marketing agencies that can no longer scale on founder stress alone. This week in agency management, I want to talk about utilization as a metric, as a way of managing your business, but not, crucially, a way of managing your team. I think some of the advice I'm going to give in this video is a little bit different than some of the other best practices I've seen floating around in the agency ops ether. So we can definitely talk about it. Drop a comment if you vehemently disagree with me. But a lot of what I'm going to be talking about here in this video is sort of vehemently held core principles of how we at Service Crowd believe agencies should be managed. Before I get into all of that, let's just talk about what the definition of utilization rate is. Utilization rate is simply the total number of service hours, billable hours, over the total capacity for that resource. So for a full-time resource, the denominator in that equation is 2,080 hours. I have seen other denominators. We use 2,080. I think that's a good place to start. And if somebody worked, say, 1,500 billable hours in the year, their utilization rate is 1,500 over 2,080, which is 72%. Incidentally, 72% is the average utilization rate within digital agencies, or at least it was in a report I saw from 2024. So that number, we didn't make it up out of thin air, but that is the definition of utilization rate. Obviously, you aren't going to have 100% utilization. That's not the correct goal to set for your agency. The correct goal to set for your agency could be a whole other video. So for the purposes of this, we're going to say 72% is the billable utilization goal, right? That goal is a reference point, and it should never, ever be used as an individual performance target. And here's what I mean by that. I mean, you should never have a manager look up their employees' utilization rate from last month and say to them, hey, our goal is 72%. You were only at 50%. Go find more work. Go do more work, right? We should not be using that number that way. Why? Well, when you tell me that, I, as the employee, I hear it doesn't really matter how good or valuable your work is to the client. Your job is to log hours, period. And so what am I going to do? I'm going to be a good employee. I'm going to log hours. It's just turned me from a consultant who was maybe really efficient, which is a good thing, and providing really great work to the client, into somebody who is just looking to fill hours. I'm no longer going to be looking for, additional strategic work I could be doing. Instead, I am now communicating explicitly or implicitly to the client that my job is to just do things for them. Now I'm a task taker. That across a whole delivery team is going to commoditize the work your agency is doing, and clients are going to start seeing you as an order taker, not a partner in, their strategic goals. And I firmly believe that every agency right now needs to be working toward how to be a strategic partner and not an order taker, right? We see this in the numbers, and I could make a whole other video about that. I think I did. I think that there's a video called outcomes are better than outputs, or at least a blog post somewhere, so you can go look for that. I've said it before and I will say it again. So that's how not to use utilization rate. How should you be using it? Well, it is a goalpost for your agency, and your individual resources should be responsible for flagging when they are wildly off their allocation, right? So if Joe Billable Resource is allocated for 32 hours billable and consistently only able to bill 20 hours a week, it should be his responsibility to stick up his hand and say, hey, I'm not able to bill what was planned for this client. Because there's a few outcomes of that, right? Like one thing could be that Mr. Joe Billable Resource is just super efficient. He's the fastest guy on the team, and we can put him on more work, and the client, even though, we scoped something at 50 hours and we're charging them for 50 hours, Mr. Joe Billable Time can do it in 20 and the client's happy with the work. And now we've just gotten ourselves a little mini value-based pricing. Hooray. It could be that, the project's delayed. It could be that it was misscoped. All of those are project and account management conversations we should have with the client. So the individual should flag, and we should be able to measure, hey, you were planned for 32 hours. You only did 20. Let's talk about why that is, and let's go figure out how to fix either the allocation or, what it is you're doing so that you can meet those goals, right? An ICP is responsible for surfacing the signal that something is off, but managers, be that line managers, executive managers, account managers, or project managers, those are all the levels of management within your agency, they are responsible for fixing that. Utilization is a system-wide signal. It's a signal that we can use at the company level, at the service line level, at the client level, and at the project level, right? To make sure that these things are all lining up in order to diagnose issues. But it is not something we can use at the billable resource level because it's going to create incentives that drive down the value of your work. All right. If you have any questions about utilization, I would love to hear them. If you think that I am totally off base with how we tend to think about using that as a management tool, let me know. I'll drop a blog post in the comments, and have a great week.